Please be seated. And just as last week, we are going to start with a brief musical illustration for the homily. I asked Rosemary to play something which could illustrate a branch of a vine when there is only a tender leaves, when the leaves are just about to come out. Thank you very much for this illustration. It started gently and we could sense the richness of the vine and its growth. Today's image is so rich in meaning. I am the vine and you are the branches. Why did Jesus choose this image? What can this image teach us? And what can you personally explore in it? Personally, it is a dear image to me for a personal reason. As you can see on the photo, he is my late grandfather. He loved his vineyard and garden passionately. Strangely enough, his family name was Vine. He was named after the vineyard. There was not a single day, apart from a couple of winter weeks or winter days, that he did not go out, mostly on his old bicycle, even if there was nothing to do in the vineyard. Every single day, he cycled few miles. From his life, I learned that vine is about connection. Wine, the drink form of it, is also about connection. I could never convince him that there are tastier wines than what he had produced. Vine is about connection, listening, attending, and patient waiting. Vine is one of those plants which you don't often find in a garden, not only because of the climate, but because it is a very slow plant. It develops and changes in the possible slowest pace. Dry winter months, no life whatsoever in the branches. Even in early spring, there are long weeks that you cannot even spot the future buds. And you wonder, is it totally dead? Will it come alive? So you even doubt that there is life in those dry branches. Then you touch something which seems to be alive in the place of the coming buds. Then the leaves just start coming out slowly. I've taken this photo this very morning after the rain in the garden. As you can see, the leaves are just about to come out. Why did Jesus choose this image? We must be sure that he marveled this plant. He identified with its slow, rich life. He recognized in it his own relationship with the Father and with the disciples. From the roots, from the capital, through the labyrinth of ever-expanding and thinning branches, there is one single flow of life, just like the church. Throughout the churches, throughout the world, throughout the Christian communities, throughout individuals in the local Christian lives, it is a one single flow of life, a unified life. Everyone who contemplated the rich structure of the branches of the vine, sooner or later ended up at its source, particularly when one plant grows so big it can cover yards on the fence, 5 meters, 10 meters, 15 meters, just from one single root. So everyone who studied the plant ended up at the source, its thickest branch, which connects to the roots, where its life stems from. As John's Gospel shows us, Jesus is at the bosom of his Father. Jesus is the closest to his Father. I know him, he says, because I am from him and he sent me. Jesus wants to draw us into the ongoing process of knowing the Father as Jesus knows. It takes time. It can take not simply years, but decades. Jesus gives us time. He sees us, he sees our whole life as an unfolding, unified whole. At whatever points of our lives, even when we are fruitless, he sees the fruits in us, even when there is no sign of it. Just like parents, the way in which they see the richness in their children's eyes, how wonderful adults they are going to grow into. But Jesus also sees the Holy Spirit in us. He sees the connection between our souls and the Father's Holy Spirit. I am the vine, you are the branches. So the image of the vine is about connection. Let me share with you a second image. It's also in the garden. It's a birdhouse. I have been observing the life of a blue-tit family in my garden. It is mind-blowing to see how tirelessly they bring the food for their chicken. But there is something which even more puzzles me. I can't explain it. The chicks are in the house. They are so little, they can only open their mouth, their beaks for food. They don't see the parents coming. The parents usually are coming from the direction of the church, so there is zero chance of visibility. But for me at least, for an unexplained reason, when the parents are getting closer, they are yards away from the house, they sense their presence because they start crying for food. They got excited. There is no voice, there is no signal sent to them. It seems that somehow, just like human babies can sense the closeness of their mother even in the other room, these birds, baby birds, they have a special sensitivity, a special form of communication. It could raise that, yes, maybe that animals communicate in a far deeper way, not only with sounds like we do, but through something which is inaudible to us. Let this image challenge us. If I manage to play just a very brief, short video, so you can see the bird is somewhere in the back, next moment arriving. So let this challenge us. Let us be blown away by the mystery that Jesus sees, senses, knows the Holy Spirit in us who are baptized. That he follows the life of the Holy Spirit in us, as this is his spirit and his life. He is so one with us, even if we don't sense it. And this is our call for spiritual life. Spiritual life. We need to do something, creating a space and time in us to pray to God, to love God and our neighbor. That's a good way of defining spiritual life. It's not only attending Sunday worship, that's part of it, but doing something extra which creates that space of prayer and sensitivity of us to love God and to love our neighbor. The sign of spiritual life is a special attentiveness when we can see Jesus, the Son of God, present in our lives, in small things and in greater things. And when someone celebrates his or her birthday, that's an opportunity, an occasion to give thanks for God's constant presence and care in our lives. As our illustration of the vine shows, the vine is on the threshold of growth. So let us join this life. It is time to reconnect with Jesus.